We are live. What's up, my friend? Abby here, and welcome back to another Write With Me live stream as part of our June virtual writing retreat. I'm so glad you're here. So glad you could join me today for this live writing session. Tell me in the chat if you can see me and hear me okay. I have to make sure my mic and my camera are working. So type in the chat. Tell me if you can see me. And I'm so glad you're here. So happy that you are still going strong on this writing retreat. You should be so proud of yourself for making it to, what is it, the third week of June? Crazy. I feel like June just started and now it's like June 21st. Okay. Anyway, time flies when you're having fun, right? So I'm glad you're here, and I hope you've been having fun all month long with me on this channel doing these Write With Me live streams as we work on our stories together. It's been really fun and creative and just such a productive and entertaining creative month. Like, I hope that you are having as much fun doing this writing retreat as I am, because it's been really wonderful. Awesome. Looks like everyone can see me. Wonderful. Tell me where you're tuning in from. I see writers tuning in from all over the world. So exciting to see. Today is kind of a big day for me because if you were on my channel earlier today, you saw that I posted my big announcement for the ARC team of my new book, The Other World. And I wish I could have a copy here that I could hold up and show you guys, but you know what this book cover looks like. If you don't, you need to go watch my previous videos about this book. But my new book, The Other World, is coming out September 19th. However, you can read it early. You can read it now. Yes, because I'm inviting you guys, all of you, to join my ARC team for this book. So if you're unfamiliar with the term, ARC means Advanced Reader Copy, and basically it is a free pre-publication version of the book that a reader will receive in exchange for an honest review before the publication of the book. So to get all the details on that, I'm going to give you guys the link if you haven't seen the video. I will paste the link in the chat so you can check out that video if you want. Maybe you already saw it. Maybe you already signed up to be part of the ARC team, but I see so many of you guys signing up to join the ARC team, and it's just been so joyful and heartwarming to see that all day long. I'm so excited, and I can't wait for you guys to read this book. So if you're a teacher, librarian, bookseller, or just an avid reader who regularly reviews books and posts your review on Amazon, Goodreads, places like that, then you qualify to be a part of the ARC team. So I hope you will check out that video I posted in the chat and sign up to be a part of the team, because it's going to be so cool. And I'm limited as to how many people can be on the team. So that's why I'm telling you about it now. I want you to hear about it soon, early on, so that you have a chance to join. So there's that. Check that out for sure, either now or after the live stream. And yeah, I'm going to stop blabbering now because I know you all are here to write, not to hear me talk about everything that I was talking about earlier. So yes, I believe you with that. If you are new to these live streams and you've never been here before, welcome. I'm so glad you finally made it. But the way these live streams are structured is we do writing sprints. We do 4 writing sprints total, 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. So 25 minutes spent writing, and then 5 minutes spent chatting with each other. I'll answer some questions that pop up in the chat, and I will then get back into writing in the next sprint. So we're going to do that for 4 sprints. And if you're part of the Discord, there will be sprints happening over the Discord community as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start the sprint. Actually, there's a sprint running in Discord right now, so we'll wait until that sprint has ended, and then I will start a sprint in the next writing sprint. So let's do that. If you're not part of the Discord, you can get access to the Discord by joining my Patreon. The link for that is below this video. But I'm going to set up my timer. Also type in the chat and tell me what you're working on today. I feel like I've been running since the moment I woke up this morning, because it's been a big day. Lots to do with the ARC team launch. So today's been kind of crazy, hectic. So I haven't had a moment to really sit down and have a breather, be creative, enjoy the writing process. So this has been a nice little respite in my day to be able to sit down and write with you guys right now. So probably what I'm going to do is work a little bit on the project that I was working on last time. But I think I'm going to start with outlining because, like I said, it's been a busy day. I don't really want to put any pressure on myself to write anything right now that matters. It sounds kind of awful, but it's true. So we're just going to go super chill, no pressure, and I'm going to do some outlining because I've been wanting to do some outlining on this book. I'm considering adding a point of view, which is crazy. So yeah, I'm going to do some outlining, and then maybe if I feel creatively inspired to do some writing of this new point of view, I might do that as well. So we'll see what happens. Keeping it real, keeping it just kind of open to however the creative forces move me. Okay, looks like tons of different writers in here in the chat, writing all kinds of different stories. So cool. I love seeing all the different projects taking shape here on these live streams. So exciting. Okay, so let's start our timers. I'm going to set this countdown timer here, and I'm going to set a timer on my phone so that you will hear it ring when it goes off. Hopefully you have something yummy to sip on, and we will start our first sprint. Let's go. Okay. is timer number 1. Sprint number 1 is done. Fantastic job, guys. Hopefully your first sprint went well. Type in the chat. Let me know how it went. I saw a super chat come in as I was wrapping up that last sprint. So I want to answer that question. Thank you so much to Castor Lamb. Thank you for the super chat. I so appreciate that. Hi, Abby. My story has 3 protagonists, a guy and 2 young girls, and I want them to slowly come to see each other as family by the end of the story. Any tips for writing good familial relationships? That's a good question. I feel like this is underappreciated in fiction, so I'm so glad you're doing this. Kind of like the found family vibes. I really love family friendships and family-like friendships, so it's something that I wish I saw more of in books. As far as how to establish that familial kind of love, I would recommend using some of the same like plot devices and techniques for romance, except making it platonic. So like situations where they have to problem solve together, situations where they have to, maybe they're in peril or some sort of dangerous situation and they have to actually rely upon each other for survival, something that brings them closer together. So forced proximity is a good thing. And just kind of bringing this connection of like they have to rely upon their friendship and their trust and their loyalty to one another in order to proceed to the next goal or to get out of a dangerous situation. Those can be really great turning point moments. And it doesn't even have to be something huge and perilous and life-threatening. It can be something kind of simple. It could be something as simple as keeping a secret for somebody. Maybe one character finds out a secret about another character and they decide to, protect the secret because they're loyal to this other character. All kinds of things like that can establish trust between characters. And that's really what you're looking for, is trust. So I would say find little ways to establish trust and then keep that up throughout the course of the story. And you'll find that before you know it, they feel like family. Let's see. Another super chat just came in. Thank you so much to Samantha Rose. Congrats on your upcoming new book, Abby. You helped me so much in my writing journey and even how I view myself as a writer. I've started working on the first draft of my novel this year. That's so exciting. I'm so happy for you, Samantha. Thank you for the congrats. I so appreciate that, and I appreciate the super chat. I'm so glad that this channel has inspired you and helped you along your writing journey. That means so much to me. It makes me so happy. Totally brightens my day. Okay, let's see. Emma Hegan asks, hi, Abby, I'm just starting out. Do you have any advice for a young writer who's afraid that they won't be taken seriously in the writing industry? My advice would be that everyone at some point feels like they're an imposter or feels like they won't be taken seriously. And pushing through that fear is what makes you serious, right? It's what makes you a true writer and somebody who is willing to push through the discomfort and push through that fear and that hesitation, step outside your comfort zone. That first step outside your comfort zone can be really scary, but trust me when I say that it gets so much better from there. And once you've taken that step outside the comfort zone, the next step is so much easier because it's like, okay, well, I did that. So I can do the next thing and I can overcome the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And before you know it, you are being taken seriously because you're taking yourself seriously. Like the first person who has to take you seriously is you. And that's probably the hardest thing you'll do because it's very easy to let self-doubt creep in, but it's so important to take yourself seriously and to treat yourself the way you want future you to be treated. Okay, so it doesn't even have to be a current state of like, you might not currently feel like you're this massively successful author that you one day want to be, but you have to take on that sense of identity and take on the same self-talk, right? That you would tell yourself, the same things you would tell yourself, the same things that you would think about if you were that successful author, because that's going to draw it into your reality. So that would be my biggest piece of advice. But keep going. You're killing it. Let's see, I'll answer one more question. We just hit 5 minutes, but I'll answer one more question. Raider 947 asks, what's the difference between a foreword, prologue, blurb, description, and preface? Okay, those are a lot of things, but I would say real quick, a foreword is usually something you find in nonfiction books rather than fiction books. Probably some fiction books have them, but usually it's more of a nonfiction book thing, and usually has to do with some like information or like about the interpretation or translation of the book, or citing like historical facts and details about what actually happened that was true. A prologue is just another word for chapter one, honestly. It's like when you're not ready to dive into chapter one, or maybe a prologue kind of like sits separately from chapter one because it feels a little bit different than the rest of the book. Like maybe it's a flashback or like building up the backstory of a character, and then we go into chapter one. So a prologue is kind of like the pre-chapter one, you can think of it as. The blurb usually is another word for description. So blurb and description are kind of interchangeable descriptions, or definitions for the same thing. It's a book description, basically. And a preface is, again, another word for forward or prologue. So it's kind of like all these terms are a little bit interchangeable, but you can also search this up and see if there are some nuanced differences. But in my experience, what I've seen is that prefaces aren't really that different from prologues. It's kind of more of a terminology difference. So hopefully that clears things up a little bit. Let's get into our next sprint, and I'm going to answer some more questions in the next break. But thank you guys so much for the super chats. I love you all so much. Okay, let's get into our second sprint. I'm going to start a sprint in the Discord this time because it looks like there isn't one running. So if you're in Discord, you can hop over there and join. I'm going to join with my word count from my outline, because I am slowly building my outline here. 794 words. So we'll see how far I get. So feel free to join over there or stay here on the live stream. Feel free to set your timers if you desire, or just use mine. And good luck. timer number 2. Sprint number 2 is done. We're halfway through our writing session. Wow. It's going so fast this time because like I'm outlining and reworking the structure of the story, but I feel like it's flowing really well for me. So I'm really happy. I'm really excited about that. Coming up with new ideas and ways to rework what I already have and make it work with this new point of view. So yeah, it's been good. I saw a super chat came in while I was on there. Thank you so much to JH8 Sagrav. I don't know if I'm saying your name wrong, but thank you so much. You said, Abby, you're inspiring the next gen of authors. That means so much to me. I'm so glad you guys are inspired. Okay. So quick break. We're going to answer a few questions and then go into sprint number 3. So excited that so many of you guys are still on with me. I know you're all in different time zones probably. So it's probably all sorts of different times of day, but I'm so glad you're here. Okay, let's see. Hannah Woods asks, do you have any tips on creating suspense in a scene without it being too fast, but also not too drawn out or too wordy, if that makes sense? Thank you. Yes, so creating suspense, of course, depends on the kind of suspense that you're trying to create here. But with any type of suspense, like you said, you don't want it to be too dragged out or too wordy because less is more, usually. If you can kind of give us a little bit, but leave a little bit out, that actually makes it more suspenseful usually. If we don't have everything, what we see isn't quite what we get. There's a little bit left behind the curtain, so to speak. There's like this kind of mystery. And that's part of the suspense, is that we don't see the full picture. As far as like writing different types of suspense, of course, there are different ways to do that, and it depends on the kind of story you're writing. But showing what might happen, or insinuating what might happen, or insinuating a possible threat to the characters, and then sort of setting up the indications that this threat is actually going to be a problem later down the road in the story, or even in the scene, is a good way to start to build that sense of suspense, because we know a threat exists. And if we don't know that the threat exists, then there can't be any real suspense. You have surprise, but you don't have the ticking time bomb. You know what I mean? When we see the ticking time bomb, we know something's going to happen in whatever amount of time is ticking by, right? And so it's not surprise, it's suspense, because we know something that's going to happen, but we don't know the whole picture, if that makes sense. I want to do more videos on suspense because I feel like it's an underrated topic. Evelyn asks, I know what my main character's fear and misbelief is, but I'm having trouble showing it within the first 5 minutes of my story. Any advice? It can be difficult to show within the first 5 minutes. I would recommend digging into your character's backstory, see if you can utilize some flashbacks in the very beginning. If not, if that doesn't feel right for you, then I would say just write forward and don't think about it so much now. Think about it more in the editing and revision process, because sometimes if we overthink these things, it can kind of block our creativity. And what really needs to happen is we just need to write it and then maybe go back and fix it later, go back and revise it later. It doesn't have to come out perfect the first time at all. And a lot of projects I've worked on, I go back and rework the beginning, those first 5 minutes, because it is the most important part, but you don't have to get it perfect the first time. It's better, I find, just to let your creativity flow and then return to it later with more of a retrospect kind of perspective. Kristen asks, I tend to complicate my stories. How can I add new characters and plot lines that I'm already very excited about to my story without overcomplicating things and giving myself burnout? I find that when I try to overcomplicate plots, and this is something that actually my sister Kate has helped me with as we are co-writing this series together, because I'm the kind of person who gets really complicated with plots a lot of times, and I'll have so many ideas. I'm like, oh, this could happen, and this could happen, and this could happen, and Kate will be like, well, wait a minute. One of those things, or both of those things, or 2 or 3 of those things could be in their own separate books later on in this series. Like, we don't have to rush. We don't have to put everything in this first book or this second book. And it's given me a lot better perspective on pacing and saving some ideas for later. So it sounds like you actually have potential to write a series if you're not already, because you have so many ideas. So I'd recommend saving some of those ideas for different books. Like, can you extend this story into a series? And can you save some of those plots for later books? Could it have a book of its own, a certain plot line? Is there the potential there for a whole other book out of that simple extra plot line? So that's something to think about. That's something that's helped me a lot with perspective. Let's see. Isaiah asks, what is any advice you have for writing a fight scene for a book? I love writing fight scenes so much. I've talked about them a lot. But I'm going to send you a link to an episode of the podcast that Kate and I did on fight scenes, because we both get like super geeky about fight scenes. I mean, we love writing fight scenes, and it's one of my favorite things to write because of course there's the sort of high stakes scenario within fight scenes, but my favorite thing about writing fight scenes is that you can really bring the internal conflict. So I just posted that link in the chat, so check that out. That podcast dives deeper into writing fight scenes, how to make them realistic, how to pace them well, and give some story examples as well, I believe. So check that out. Okay, we're over our time. Let's go to the next sprint. I'm going to continue on this outline. I didn't log my words, but I feel bad logging my words because I'm copying and pasting stuff from my old outline at this point. So it's going to be like a lot of words that I didn't actually sit here and type. So I'm just kind of joining the sprint in Discord for the sake of being there. So feel free to join the sprint in Discord if you would like to. I'm going to join with my current word count, which is 1836. Whoa. Okay. And let's set our timers up again. Go for another 25 minutes, and I'll answer some more questions in 25 minutes. Timer number 3, sprint number 3. Fantastic job, guys. I felt like I literally was sprinting to the end of that one because I was like trying to get my thought out before the timer rang. So type in the chat. Tell me how it went. Man. If you are still here and it is late in the day for you, then you should be so proud of yourself for sticking with it, right? We take the creative time that we can get. And that's why I'm doing these Write With Me live streams like all different times throughout the month, because I know sometimes we can't have that creative time earlier in the day. So it's fun to be able to do it later in the day as well. Okay, looks like everyone had a wonderful sprint. Fantastic. Great job, guys. I'm going to update my word count real quick in the Discord. 2904. Oh, 1,000 new words. Don't worry. I copied and pasted a lot of them because I'm re-outlining. So I'm copying and pasting my old outline, adjusting things, rewriting things, fitting new chapters in. It's chaotic, but it's fun. So whatever amount you've written, congratulations, you're doing a great job. I'm going to answer a few more questions and then we'll get into our last sprint of the day. Let's see. Daydream asks, how do I get into detail about my fantasy world's nature and history when my plot doesn't revolve around the world itself? I would say the same thing that I tell every writer about exposition and world building, because you want to include these details about the fantasy world's nature and history and details like that. Is like find ways to make it relevant to the protagonist and their current journey or their mission. And you might have to get a little creative with this and figure out like, okay, how can parts of the world and the history of the world impact what matters to the main character right now in the present moment, and using that as sort of like a point of reference of like, this is the important thing, the main character and their internal struggle and their journey. So how can we take that point of reference and then make everything else sort of revolve around it and be serving the protagonist's story in some way? That's what I would start asking myself. Let's see. Ria asks, should you know what you're writing before every chapter before you write it? Not necessarily. It depends on what kind of writer you are. It depends on your style and your process. So try different things. If you feel like you're starting to write a chapter and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know where I'm going, you're going to probably need an outline. And there's no right or wrong way to have a writing process. Everyone's process is different. So you have to just find what works best for you. I find that in this season of my writing life, what works best for me is to have a rough outline and maybe just the bullet point list of stuff that needs to happen in the chapter and what needs to be accomplished and what change the characters need to reach internally and externally in order to proceed to the next scene. Check out my video on scene cards for more help on this, because I think that will help you out a lot with structuring your scenes. Percy and Zozo asks, how do you make sure you get no distractions while writing? It's difficult sometimes. Sometimes you can't help but be distracted and interrupted, and you just kind of like gotta go with the flow in that case, I would say. But it really helps to let people know, anybody who could possibly interrupt you, let them know ahead of time when you're writing and how important it is to you. And if you have to, lock yourself in a room with a do not disturb sign on the door. I mean, you have to set those boundaries because your creativity is important to you. So setting boundaries and asking others to respect those boundaries, and then doing your best to not distract yourself, because you can distract yourself just as badly as other people can distract you. So hiding your phone, shutting off social media, shutting off the internet if you can, or using an app limiter, just taking measures to make sure that you are setting boundaries both for yourself and between yourself and others. That has always been helpful for me. Okay, let's answer one more question and then get into our last sprint. Joe asks, advice for making scenes longer. that can be a tricky thing to do sometimes if you feel like your scene is missing something, it's lacking, it's too short, it's too quick, if the pacing feels too quick or rushed in some way. I would first look at the scene and then try to identify what part of it is rushing. What part of it feels like I could have spent more time digging into that. And sometimes it's just a piece between two lines of dialogue where we maybe skipped over some important reaction or response that the other character should have had in that moment. One way that I like to make scenes longer, usually I don't have any problem making scenes longer because I usually make them too long and I have to make them shorter. But when you're in the first drafting process, try not to worry too much about making things too long because you can always cut things. You can't cut what's not there. So it's better to write more rather than less in the first draft and then go back. But I just try to ask myself, like, what is the character feeling in this moment? What are all the characters feeling? And can I show more of their feelings in between the lines here? Can I show more of what's happening and how the characters are responding, reacting to it? And you'll find that showing more just makes the scene longer. It makes the pacing slower and it makes us absorb more of the details of what's going on. So hopefully that helps. Let's get into our fourth and final writing sprint. Okay, so we are going to finish strong. I'm going to set up another sprint in the Discord. I hope my keyboard battery lasts for this last one. I'm going to set my timer again and join. Just going to carry on outlining, and I might even be able to reach the end of my rough outline here. That's my goal. Okay, let's go. Good luck, everybody. Let's write. Boom. Fantastic work, guys. It's our last sprint number 4. If you're still here, wow, you should be so proud of yourself. Like, amazing. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you for staying to the end. Oh, man. So hopefully your last sprint went wonderfully. And of course, you can continue writing, but I have to hop off. But you guys have been amazing. You did an amazing job. Way to go showing up for yourself and showing up for your creativity. Type your final word count in the chat if you desire. I've gone up to 3,622 words. That's in my outline, of course, not actual drafting, because I'm working on the outline today. But I made tons of progress. I mean, I started with like I can't remember what I started with, but it was in the 3 digits. So I'm happy with the progress I've made, and actually really eager to get back into it in another session. So thank you guys so much for joining me for this session. I'm so glad you were able to make it and get a lot done. It was wonderful being able to hang out and write with you guys. Always such a pleasure. And again, this is not the end of the writing retreat. We have 2 more sessions. So we have a session this weekend and next Wednesday. And the next Wednesday session will be our final writing session. So crazy. Can't believe how fast June went by, but I'm so glad you guys have been here for it. So I will see you in the live stream writing session this weekend. And until then, remember to check out my video on my ARC team. So I'm building the ARC team for my new book, The Other World, and I want you to be part of that. So check out that video. It's on my channel. It's the latest video I posted. If you haven't signed up for the ARC team, check out that video to figure out how you can sign up, and I hope to see you over there. Super excited for you to read this book, guys. So exciting. Okay, I'm not going to get off rambling about my book because you know I'll be here forever if I do, so we'll leave it at that. Go check out that video and make sure you add the book on Goodreads too while you're at it. So more to come in the realm of book publishing, so keep an eye out for that. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any new videos or live streams, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and as always, rock on.